So I've been thinking about the issue of risk, and it's come up, there's a lot in the papers now, and the forest school movement, increasing risk. And I know that there are parents and teachers that are very concerned about having risk with the kids. So, there are definitely things that are quite dangerous. And I think it's a communication issue. So those of us in outdoor education or fields that encourage risk with children, it's not that we just want to throw the kids into canoes or let them go swimming without supervision and life jackets, or have them climbing rocks without proper equipment or proper training ahead of time. It's that they need these skills for their life. You don't keep a child out of a kitchen because you're afraid they might burn their hand on the stove. You teach them that the stove is hot and you have to respect it, and that when it's on, you don't touch it. And even if it's off, you have to be careful because it may have been on recently. So the stove is kind of like things outside. The trees, the plants, the rocks, the wildlife, the kids can be exposed to it and take small steps at increasing their level of risk as they are comfortable in managing their own risks. But they need to learn how to manage their risks, because at some point they're not going to have parents and teachers standing over them telling them they can't do something, and they're going to be curious and they're going to want to do something, and that's when they're going to get hurt. So if we start young and let them know, maybe this isn't safe, or how to tell that something isn't safe. One of the things that we did is we would look at different plants, and before we touched them, the children would look at the plants. They would look for thorns or furry stems. So to tell, is that stinging nettle? Does it have 3 leaves? Does it look like poison ivy? Or maybe it's a different plant. It's not poison ivy because it doesn't have the other characteristics. So they learned how to identify for themselves what is a risk. Same with climbing rocks. So first they started with little rocks and little logs, and they would climb on top of them and they'd stumble around. But if they fell over, they were only falling 2 inches. So it's not a big deal. But they learned balance. They learned where their body is in space. And by doing that, they could continue to increase the challenge for themselves while increasing their risk, but understanding the consequence. If they fall from a farther height or a higher height, it's going to hurt, and they can really cause damage to themselves and break something. And we have those discussions, and we talk about real life circumstances where they've done these things so they can make that connection. Anyway, I just want to put it out there that it is important that we have these dialogues and these communications, not just to the people who want to introduce risk, but to those who are concerned about risk. If they raise their concerns, then they can be addressed. And maybe they have a very valid concern for risk, and they're watching somebody not execute a program in a way that is safe, in a way that takes progressive skills. There are many practitioners out there who don't know how to teach outdoor education in a safe way. So there is definitely valid concern. And I really hope that this opens up a dialogue for parents and teachers to even have the conversation with me or to have the conversation with others without feeling like there's conflict involved. It's just we need to educate each other on what's going on, because there are children. So we are very concerned about them. We want them to be healthy and safe right now, but we want them to grow into healthy, independent adults.